This criminal history and what he's just done, and he thinks he's in Cook County, he's going to be out by Sunday. Not a chance. Not a chance.
You ever find a story that is so satisfying that you just have to go on your YouTube channel, youtube.com/theactualjusticewarrior, and make an entire video about it? Probably not, because I'm the only one with one of those channels, but regardless, I'm sure you will enjoy this one, because in this amazing story, a tale as old as time, Beauty and the Beast, we have an individual, a repeat offender who's committed crime after crime after crime in Cook County, which is under the jurisdiction of woke District Attorney Kimberly Fox, but this time he slipped up a little bit. This time he crossed county lines.
It's not like he was in his front yard.
To a county that he doesn't even live in.
In a state that he doesn't even live in.
And all of a sudden, he ain't in Chicago anymore. This ain't Cook County, and justice was served. That's what we're going to talk about today, because I love every aspect of this story, except for the long repeat criminal history and the repeated victimizations that went completely unprosecuted in Cook County, in the city of Chicago. But it's going to be amazing, it's going to be worth it, it's going to be glorious, and you're going to love it. But before we get into that, thank you to my members who signed up over on actualjusticewarrior.com/join. Let's get into what's going on here.
Carjacker will spend decades behind bars thanks to law enforcement collaboration. The man bragged he would get out of it.
But as Fox 32's Elizabeth Matthews reports, he wound up with a hefty sentence.
22 years behind bars. This after he carjacked someone in the city, led troopers on a long, fast pursuit, and also punched a police canine. And his court dates aren't over yet.
That's right. This carjacker, this repeat offender, ended up getting 22 years for his string of criminal behavior, also based on the fact that he is a repeat offender. But what makes this so glorious is that he was so confident that he was going to get away with it, that he actually told the people in the ambulance, told officers that he was going to be out by the end of the week, because he knew how the woke George Soros-backed, Sean King-supported District Attorney Kimberly Fox operated. Now, every time I talk about deterrence theory on this channel, and how if you soften criminal penalties to such a point where the criminals know that there's no consequences even if they will get caught, you will end up with more crime, people tell me, no, that's ridiculous. You see, Sean, what you don't understand is that criminals are only committing crimes because they're Aladdin. They're not doing it because they don't fear any consequences. It's just that they want to feed those starving kids with the big eyes. Oh my God, isn't Aladdin such a good guy? But here you have it, from the horse's mouth himself, after he's arrested, after he led police on a chase, that this person thought that he was going to be totally fine even after he got caught. He was laughing about it, but then he ultimately ended up in a jurisdiction that he didn't expect, and thus he got the hefty sentence.
With this criminal history and what he's just done, and he thinks he's in Cook County, he's going to be out by Sunday. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Will County Prosecutor James Glasgow says carjacker convict Jordan Henry was sure he'd get out of this crime too.
In the ambulance, he tells Trooper Uribe, don't worry about it. I've done this before. I'll be out by Sunday. And this was a Wednesday.
Now, the DA, who is actually a real prosecutor, talks about how this person, Henry, 29 years old, has a lengthy criminal history, and he should have been off the streets long ago. And I think it's imperative that we go into that lengthy criminal history so you can understand the kind of super predators that the city of Chicago just releases time and time again, to the point where they're so confident that even after they lead police on a lengthy chase, even after they assault a police dog, even after they're thrown in the ambulance due to the fact that they ended up spinning out in the car that they nearly destroyed, the stolen car that they nearly destroyed, they're telling people, oh, don't worry, I'm going to be out by Sunday. Let's get into that. So day of, Jordan Henry decided at 10:55 in the morning that he was going to have a handgun that he was carrying illegally and pointed at somebody who was in a 7-Eleven and demanded their vehicle. Now, he get charged with an attempted carjacking here, not a carjacking, because what he ultimately ended up taking was the victim's keys and the phone from the victim's car. so this was more of a straight up robbery. However, 25 minutes later, he then pointed the gun at the body of the 69-year-old. He actually pointed it at the head of the first person and stole that person's Volkswagen Jetta. Of course, the 69-year-old man was working as an Uber driver, so not only did he steal his means of transportation, but he actually stole his source of income, because that's the level of scumbag that we're dealing with. Now, he takes off in the Jetta, and then he drives on Interstate 94. The police attempt to stop him, and of course, he decides to lead them on a high-speed pursuit. Now, this pursuit went on I-94, I-80, I-294 northbound, and onto I-55 in Will County. And by the way, Will County is absolutely crucial right here. You see, because if Jordan would have just surrendered, if he would have been stopped prior to entering Will County, then he would have remained in Cook County and thus been prosecuted, or more accurately, not prosecuted, under the fact that Kimberly Fox, the district attorney, the same woman who tried to cut a deal for Jussie Smollett, ended up being the DA there, and she doesn't prosecute anybody. And this is how, time and time again, he's been able to get away with criminal violation after criminal violation. However, entering Will County, biggest mistake of his life. Now, the Shorewood police were not messing around. They ended up deploying stop sticks, which, if you're unaware, they're spikes that deflate the tires while somebody's driving that are meant to end a police pursuit. But as you often see in those wildest police chase videos, Henry decided to continue driving even on his rims up until the point where he completely lost control of the vehicle, drove into an embankment, and by the way, during the process, he nearly hit a police officer. At this point in time, the police decide that they're going to deploy a dog. That dog's name is Hades, which is amazing because Henry had no idea the hell that he had inflicted upon himself by crossing into Will County, and he decided to punch that dog in the face, because why not add animal abuse to all of the charges that you're facing? And by the way, he was in fact charged with striking that police animal. Now, after decking the dog, Henry, who is a complete and utter pain in the ass, hid in a marshy area, but ultimately he ended up being caught. And due to his lengthy criminal history, Will County decided that they were going to hold him on $1 million bond. Now, this part is absolutely crucial, because what Henry and his attorney did was essentially try to dismiss the action in Will County and get charged for everything in Chicago under the Cook County District Attorney, because he knew that would be a better circumstance. So we have these criminals attempting to be tried under these woke, left-wing, George Soros-funded, Sean King-supported district attorneys, because they know that's the best possible deal for the criminal, not for the victim. They know for a fact that somebody like Kimberly Fox and her office isn't going to give a damn about all the people that they put in danger, so these people are actively seeking to be tried in those courtrooms and prosecuted by those district attorneys, which should tell you a lot about those people and those positions being compromised by these left-wing activists. Now, that motion was denied, and one of the reasons why this wasn't just passed off to the larger county prosecutor office, like honestly, a lot of these cases they don't want to deal with, is because James Glasgow, the district attorney in Will County, actually had a conscience, he actually had principles, and he wasn't going to allow this complete and utter scumbag to be correct in that he was going to get out on Sunday, and he decided that, you know what, he needed to do it himself if he wanted it to get done right.
Glasgow says in his past, Henry has escaped serious jail time in Cook County.
Since it did occur in the city of Chicago, if he were arrested there, looking at his past history, he probably would have been back out on the street in a very short period of time, just like he bragged. But not this time. Justice was done.
Because Henry wasn't joking about doing this before. In fact, he was currently out on bond at the time that he committed this crime, after paying just $1,000 for, guess what? Being in possession of a stolen motor vehicle. So the exact same crime is what only cost him $1,000 in Cook County, and in Will County, they weren't having it, so they prosecuted him to the fullest extent of the law and secured a 22-year sentence against him. However, his criminal history is even lengthier than that. Henry is also facing charges in Cook County on 2 counts of aggravated kidnapping with intent to do harm, 4 counts of aggravated criminal sexual assault, 2 counts of robbery with a firearm, and aggravated battery in public. Additionally, he has an outstanding warrant out of Indiana for a charge of theft. And there's also charges, again in Cook County, including fleeing and eluding, reckless driving, disorderly conduct in connection with 6 companion cases, retail theft, criminal damage of property in an amount less than $500, and various traffic and ordinance violations. He's also been convicted of robbery and theft. So Cook County let a guy out who is in possession of a stolen vehicle, a history of stealing cars, on just $1,000 bond when he had a history and pending charges in 2 felony kidnappings, 4 sexual assaults, aggravated sexual assaults, by the way. That means it was violent sexual assault, and a bunch of other charges that were unresolved, and some prior convictions and outstanding cases, even going to the state of Indiana. And Will County absolutely 100% correct in not turning this person over and just punting the case over to this district attorney's office, because obviously they are in no way, shape, or form interested in prosecuting this career criminal, and I'm all here for it. When this guy says this ain't Cook County, that is music to my ears. I will play it 600 times before I go to bed because it is great stuff.
The strips worked, and Henry fled his stopped car, but not for long. He was caught by Hades, a police canine, charged with carjacking, robbery, and striking a police animal. Glasgow says in his past, Henry has escaped serious jail time in Cook County.
I mean, look at how savage this press conference is. You guys can't really see it here because the local news doesn't focus on it, but what this guy ended up doing was putting up a timeline of all the charges and pending cases that this guy has been able to get away with without being held in custody, put it up on display, and said, no, it's not happening here. We actually have the will to fight in Will County. We're not cooked in our brains like over in Cook County. Yes, I'm making puns about what's going on, but it's necessary. We're going to handle our business, and I love every aspect of this.
With this criminal history and what he's just done, and he thinks he's in Cook County, he's going to be out by Sunday. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Respect all the way around. And by the way, this is exactly what we need from our prosecutors. A no-nonsense attitude, and just to incentivize people who are in these terrible areas. If they're going to commit crimes and the people in those areas are going to continually vote for these left-wing district attorneys, then they better not for a second travel outside of that jurisdiction. Because once you leave the fantasy left-wing utopia where crime is just allowed because everybody thinks you're Aladdin, be rest assured that we're not going to think that outside of that geographic area. When you go to a real county with real people, they're going to hold it down, and they're going to give you the lengthiest sentence based on your previous criminal history and your offenses, and they're going to use all the stuff that was let go by Kimberly Fox and her district attorney's office. This was a great story. It's really unfortunate that it had to get to this point in time. Let us not forget that the Uber driver ended up having his car destroyed during this whole process, so this person deprived somebody of their livelihood. He was not trying to feed starving kids like our left-wing media would try to tell you, and he was handled by Will County. Now look, that is all I really have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about somebody who finally got justice. Till next time.